Hello and welcome to today's lesson. Starting off, we're going to fold our paper in hamburger style then hot dog style so we can have 4 boxes on both the front and back. I put the line here so you can see it. All right, but today we're going to put our name, the date, and this is going to be 4.3, day 2, and we're going to say perpendicular lines. All right, so perpendicular lines are the complete opposite of parallel lines. They're going to intersect, but they're going to intersect at a certain part. So we're going to start off in this top box and start off with the definition. 2 lines in the same plane that intersect to form 4 right angles are perpendicular lines. Okay, the symbol I'm putting in parentheses here, like the upside down looking T, means perpendicular. Okay, so if you see us use that symbol, that's what we're talking about. All right, so perpendicular lines is this definition, and here is this symbol. All right, and I'm also going to underline it anyways. Okay, so something else that I want to make sure we cover here, we're going to say that non-vertical lines are perpendicular if and only if their slopes are negative reciprocals. Okay, so negative reciprocals are when we flip the fraction and change the sign. So an example of that would be if our slope would equal 3/1, our perpendicular slope would equal negative 1/3. Notice we flipped the fraction and we changed the sign. It was positive and now it's negative. Another example of that would be if our first slope was negative 2/5, our perpendicular slope would be positive 5/2. Okay, so below over here, I'm going to make a couple notes. I'm going to make a note here, then a note here. All right, just want to remind you that vertical lines are perpendicular to horizontal lines. All right, so that's one of the notes we're going to make. And we'll put this one under here for a reason that, all right, when we multiply perpendicular slopes, they equal -1. Okay, and just to show you, if we did the first example here, 3/1 times -1/3 would equal -1. All right, that's just to show you how these would work here. All right, so now we're going to go into some examples. Our first example, I want to know, well, so example 1 here, which lines are perpendicular? Line A is going to be with the points -2, 1, and 0, 3. Line B is going to have the points 4, 1, and 6, 4. And line C is going to have the points 1, 3, and 4, 1. Okay, and I'm going to use this box over here for workspace. All right. All right, so we're going to define the slopes of each of these lines. All right, so I like to go through and start off each of these by labeling my points x1, y1, x2, y2. So if I want to find the slope of line A, I would do y1, which is 1, minus 0, over, oh, sorry, let me start that over again. That was wrong. All right, my bad. This is what happens. All right, so scratch that little part there. 1 minus 3 over -2 minus 0. If we were to simplify that, 1 minus 3 is -2. Okay, and -2 minus 0 is -2. So the slope of line A is 1. I'm going to do the same thing for line B. I'm going to label my points. So the slope of line B, we're going to do 1 minus 4 over 4 minus 6. 1 minus 4 is -3 over 4 minus 6 is -2. So this slope would be 3/2. Okay. Now we need to find the slope of line C. So we're going to do the same thing. Start off by labeling our points. And now I'm going to say the slope of line C is going to be 3 minus 1 over 1 minus 4. So that'll be 2 over -3. So this slope would be -2/3. So if we go back to our original equation or problem and said which lines are perpendicular, remember perpendicular slopes need to be negative reciprocals. Same thing, just flip the fraction. Well, which slopes are perpendicular here? In this case, we could say that line B is perpendicular to line C. All right, we could also write it as line B is perpendicular to line C. Notice their slopes are negative reciprocals of each other. All right, if we now flip our page to the back, we're now going to write some equations. All right, so for example 2, I want to write an equation in point slope form. Perpendicular to y equals 4x minus 1 through the point 4, -3. Okay, so just a reminder at the top, I'm going to write point slope form, which is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Okay, so in this case, I start off, this equation's in slope-intercept form, so I know my original slope is going to be 4, but I want to know what's my perpendicular slope going to be. That's what I need because they're talking about a perpendicular line. Well, this 4 is really over 1, so I'm going to flip it and I'm going to change the sign. So my perpendicular slope here is -1/4. I also have the points here. Here's my x1, here's my y1. So now what I'm going to do is plug all those into my point slope form equation. So we'll say y minus -3 equals our slope, or m, times x minus x1, which is 4. The only thing we could clean this up, we could say, let's say y plus 3 equals -1/4 times x minus 4. That's the equation perpendicular to the given line through this point in point slope form. Okay. I'm going to do the same thing for 3. So we want it in point slope form. So we're going to write an equation once again. In point slope form. Perpendicular to y equals 1/2 x plus 3 through -3, 1. Okay, similar to the last one, just a little different problem, a little different equations and stuff here. So we start off by saying, what's the slope of our original line? It's 1/2. Well, what would our perpendicular slope be? Remember, we're going to flip it and change the sign, so our perpendicular slope is going to be -2. We can label -3 as our x1 and y as our y1. We would then say, use point slope form again, y minus y1, which is 1, equals our m, which is -2. Remember to use your perpendicular slope, x minus x1, which is -3. We can clean this up a little bit and say -2 times x plus 3. So that's our equation, perpendicular to y equals 1/2 x plus 3 through that given point. All right. So, example 4. I want you to write an equation in slope-intercept form, perpendicular to y equals -4/3 x plus 5 through the point 0, -8. Okay. Now realize here, oh, sorry, let me move that up so you can see it. Realize here they want slope-intercept form. Slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. Just a reminder, okay? So we still need the slope of our original line, which is -4/3. We also need the perpendicular slope, which would be +3/4. Remember, we're going to flip it and change the sign. But we also need our b, or our y-intercept. Now, if you notice in this problem, the y-intercept, they give it to us. It's 0, -8. The y-intercept will always be a 0 as the x, and this number here, which was our b, in this case will be -8. So we put these two things together. Our equation would be y equals 3/4 x minus 8. And that's our equation in slope-intercept form, perpendicular to the given equation through the given point. All right. Our last equation here, our last problem we're going to do here is we're going to start off, step 1, we're going to write an equation perpendicular, I'm just going to use a symbol here, to y equals -1/2 x minus 9 through the point 7, 10 in point slope form. Okay, so now notice again, we're going back to point slope form. So we need to know our slope of our original line is -1/2. Our perpendicular slope would be +2. 7 is our x1, 10 is our y1. So in point slope form, which we have at the top of the page, we're going to say that this would be y minus 10 equals 2 times x minus 7. So that's our equation in point slope form. Now I'm going to add some extra directions here, and now I want us to write the equation in slope-intercept form. So all we now need to do is take our equation that we just had and solve for y. So our first step would be distribute the 2. So we'd have y minus 10 equals 2 times x, 2x, 2 times -7, -14. We would then need to add 10 to both sides, and we would get y equals 2x minus 4. That's the equation here in slope-intercept form. So notice we took an equation, wrote a perpendicular line in point slope form, and then converted it to slope-intercept form. Okay? We'll post a link to this video along with our class notes. If you have any questions, please let us know. We'll post your homework soon enough. Have a great day. Bye.